really good recording.
All right, my
Well
work
done.
is done here.
Okay. Josh, are you driving? You said you were presenting, right?
I'm presenting, but I'm just going to be very mechanical and just make sure that we're hovered over the right view. You're leading.
Oh.
Okay. So what is taking notes mean versus presenting?
Taking notes mean you're trying to jot down what everybody else is saying. Presenting means you're driving the meeting.
Okay, fine. I'll drive. I think. All right. Anyways, this is being recorded, so I won't grouse too much. All right. So before we get into the topics for the day, do we have any sort of weekly routine stuff we want to pull in? Record this meeting. Sven, can you do that?
Yes, I can. I did.
Why isn't it done yet? All right, I will pull in the whole block. Okay, so done.
Josh, there are two blocks. One is for the reminders and the other one is for the weekly routines.
Okay, but it's probably, so you're saying that I should go through this and then get the other block that I didn't move down? Okay, let's go through this. I'll move down the other block. Okay, so Istio community testing, let's take a look. Shweta, how up to date is this?
This is up to date. The stats is in the weekly routine. We still have a couple of, I think 4, which needs to be claimed. This is much better than what we were last week. We also reviewed one more time with the working group leads and demoted some of the P0s. So 4 which needs claim, and there is, I think, 13 which are in progress. And today is the last day of the community testing day.
How do I tell what needs to be claimed? The NA?
No, the ones which are, so if you filter in progress, actually, if you go to the weekly routine, I have added the filtered sheet there.
Weekly routine, where's the weekly routine?
Go
up.
I
see, up, got, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 number, not claimed. So if you click on that one, okay.
Oh, I'll move the whole block down.
Okay.
Okay, this one, not
the one,
claimed.
No, yeah, that one. That should be filtered already. Oh no, can you click on testing?
Sorry, what?
Can you click on testing week? It was filtered. Okay.
Why don't we take it offline? I think it would be good if you could just specifically list out the ones that you're asking help for, so people can see it and of course sign up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we covered that. 3 cases to be automated. This is the very slow payoff of our tech debt. So user experience, environments, and security, do they still need to pick some automation?
Yes, please. The rest
okay.
have
So let's start with user experience. I know we have a couple, at least one. We have at least one user experience co-lead. What's going on?
Yeah, user experience has chosen several docs to automate. I'm not sure why we're on that list.
Okay.
The doc that I automated was not a P0, but I automated it because I thought it was at risk.
Did you do 3? The request is 3.
I did 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I've signed up for one. I'm not finished doing it. I don't. And then we have another one of our maintainers signed up for one as well.
Okay.
I'm having tech difficulty right now. I can't open the spreadsheet, but I'm certain we did, or we signed up for 3.
Okay, then I'm gonna. So the request here is to sign up, not do. So I'm moving you guys up. Environments. What's going on? Environments, why have you failed us? So John is now networking. Costin is environments. Costin is
Paying
here.
attention. Costin is not paying attention. Sorry, I was bugging something.
All right.
Uh,
So actually, it's Costin and it's Martin, and I don't know who else. Is it still Steve Dake for environments?
Yes, I think so. So what was the question? Sorry.
You guys, the environments working group needs to pick 3 test cases, 3 doc tests to automate. There are 3 docs to automate with doc tests.
Okay. Obviously we didn't. So we'll work on it. Sorry.
All right, let me just do it this way. All right, there it is.
Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
Josh,
there-
I announced at the steering committee that Steve left IBM last Friday, so it's unclear if he would have bandwidth to continue down the environment work group co-lead position.
Okay, so is he working on? I saw his LinkedIn profile update last night, that he's now at VMware. So is he
Yes.
working on the issue at VMware or something else, or just who knows?
Yeah, from what I tell, no, not related to Istio.
Okay.
He showed desire to continue to contribute, but it's unclear how much time he would have.
Okay.
And I don't think we've seen it in the meeting for a while. So
Yeah, for 2 months, we
Yeah.
haven't seen him in any of the environment work group meeting.
Okay.
we can check with him offline and see if we need to do another lecture or something. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Security. Do we have anyone here from the security working group? All right, and I will nag who I think are the co-leads. I think that's Lehman, Lazan, and Oliver. Is that right?
I think so, yes.
Okay. This is not the best comment. They're just going to see like security without any sort of context, I think. Anyways, future reminders, roadmap presentations. Okay.
We are starting next week, Josh. When we do the presentation, the team is planning to do a yearly roadmap, which they are working on, and 1.10 release review. So, and because it's a yearly roadmap and the release roadmaps by 2 teams, I am worried if everything can be done in each week. Do you think for 3 weeks can we extend the TOC meeting by 30 minutes, or we can use the Tuesday meetings of working group leads for the reviews, because we always like fall behind while reviewing it.
And then an additional option, I'm just adding, opening this up for discussion. We can just make sure that we put the reviews at the top of the agenda. So we ensure that we get them in every TOC meeting, and then there's just less time to do other things.
So
What do you
Josh,
guys think?
we have tried to do that in the past. It just go down somehow. The things go up. I've tried to block it, but it doesn't work that way.
It should be first come, first serve. But as a TOC, we can decide that we want to prioritize these reviews. So TOC, what do you think we should do?
I think the issue is what these reviews tend to overlap. Well, I think Shweta in general is right. There is other pressing business, and it's just a straight bandwidth issue.
Okay, then we can add 30 minutes. What do you guys think?
Or we can occupy the working group lead meeting as well, which we did do before.
Yeah, well, which is fine with me. Just making sure, we are, make it clear that's the meeting you want us to be there. Because I know last time I didn't show up without knowing. That's the one we have to attend.
Yes.
Okay, so is that what we're saying? We're all going to descend on the working group lead weekly meetings, and we'll do the reviews, the roadmap reviews there.
Okay. Well, there and this meeting. So.
Okay. So at least from so basically the TOC and anyone, actually this is an issue. If you want to attend these, but you're not in the TOC and you're not in the working group, you're not a working group lead, can you attend that working group leads meeting, or are you somehow excluded from that?
Then we need to extend the invite, Josh, because that is very
Yeah.
specific to the working group.
Yeah,
So that's a problem.
Yep.
that
Good
that would
point.
favor. Go ahead.
Yeah, we need to add it to the TOC calendar. Right, these meetings.
Okay. So then that would mean Shraddha, like straw man thinking through this and still waking up. During the roadmap reviews, cancel the working group lead meetings, replace it with an invite on the working group calendar, or on the working group calendar, so anyone can attend the reviews, and direct add the working group leads, just so they know they got to attend.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so weekly routine, I guess we already did this. It's not 88 P0s anymore. Do you know what the new count is?
So I think it was reduced. 71 is done. As we said, 4 are non-claimed.
Okay.
So I have the number,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
ones who are non-claimed. It's
Okay. Oh, you have that now? Should I click on that window?
Yeah. Yeah. I have messaged the filtered view in the, there you go.
I see. Yeah, so just so you know, the filter view is something that is actually shared by everyone. So while this filter is enabled, anyone who opens this sheet will see this. There's some other option where it's like a filter that is private to you.
So
But
that would have happened because I
yeah,
added.
and then somebody will clear because they want to see the other bugs. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What is Istio? Yeah. Okay. Are these P0s? Maybe row 45, the third one.
I'm pretty sure that one is already automated. Maybe we just need to update the spreadsheets.
Okay. Anyways, if anybody can give these a sanity check, that would be great. If anyone can do a test automation, that'd be even better. Unless it already exists.
It exists, that one.
Okay,
I know
it
for
does.
sure. Yeah.
All right, let me while I'm here.
Yeah, I can change too if you want me to.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, moving on. Review issue health 1.9.
Yes, there are 8 release blockers and 33 P0s. Jacob was looking if any of these needs special attention. Jacob?
All right, here we go.
We have a code freeze on Monday, just a reminder.
Sorry, yeah, my mic wasn't working. So after looking through these, most of these are related to testing or like actual tests. The one that I do want to raise, and I know Sam is on the call, so he'll have more information about this, but the one for revision upgrade breaks. There are 2 outstanding PRs for this, one of which affects the API repo, and at least according to Sam, and Sam, please clarify this, but there's still some discussion on what the proper approach should be in tackling this. So this, at least from an outside perspective, it seems like this is something that could hold up the release potentially, or we move this down further the list. Given the severity of this, I think probably something that we have to.
And just be clear, this is a regression. We didn't use it. This is not a bug we've always had, right?
That
It's
I
not a
do.
regression. This is not a regression. Yeah.
Okay, then it doesn't hold back the release. I mean, the bar is basically every release, whether it's a patch or a feature release, should make things better. But if it's a pre-existing thing and it's always been that way, or it's been that way previously, we don't hold back making things better just to fix one bug or issue. So I think that does anyone have concerns with me reclassifying this as a P0 and not a release? Okay, because it's not a regression. Are you sure? mean, this is bad. It would be nice to fix this.
Right. It's we don't just use that definition, right? We also make a quality assessment, right, of how bad something really is.
Right. And one argument could be that if people hit this when they're new releases, so we're gonna have like another wave of pain if we don't fix this, that
right,
could become a release blocker.
Reputation destructive to the project.
Yeah.
Right? That's not good.
But there are workarounds, and it only happens for people who install the revision by default. I mean, it's not. I mean, we can document the workaround, or we can. I don't know.
Don't we want people to start adding revision by default, though?
Well, they can start with the default. I mean, we never said that we should not have the default release. I mean, it's. We want people to upgrade using revision, not necessarily to always use revision and never use default install.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's worrying is this bug also shows up when you have a default install of Istio, then install a revision, and then uninstall the original Istio, which is kind of how upgrades are supposed to go. That also breaks validation.
What is the current status of revision-based upgrades? Like maturity, I should say. Is it alpha? Is it experimental, or is it beta?
I believe it's experimental, at least in our protos. Revision is marked experimental.
So one way of handling this is saying that this blocks promotion of that to something more stable.
So, Josh, also in place upgrade is in the same state. So we know between both of them, have problems, but revision based upgrade is the one least likely to break stuff when you upgrade. It's not like we ever promoted in place upgrade to beta. Quite the opposite. We said that we are not going to support it at all because it's not sustainable.
So we're not going to support in-place upgrades, and the replacement is something that's experimental?
No, both of them are in the same state of stability and testing. One of them is a bit better than the other.
What is the advertised feature maturity of in-place upgrades? Or is it just undefined?
Undefined, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's like most things. There's no defined.
It's undefined, and we know that it cannot work reliably because it has fundamental issues.
But it is still right? Like the most widely used practice.
Right, it is widely used.
It is widely used or misused, yes. But that doesn't mean it's mature or it's.
So I think
I'm not sure that's necessarily relevant to the user's custom.
It is relevant because they are at high risk of breaking their production system when they're doing in place upgrade, and that will be pretty bad. Versus some minor additional steps and extra difficulty when doing revision, but at least they don't break their cluster. So yes.
Like let's say we could fix this bug. Is the rest of revision-based upgrades like ready for promotion, like ready to become our primary recommendation for how people upgrade clusters? I'm not sure it is.
I think it remains better than all alternatives.
I guess another way to ask the same question, if we fix this, how many other known bugs are there related to revision-based upgrade?
And are there documentation gaps? So, yeah.
I'll let others answer this question. I'm biased, apparently.
I would say there are no bugs this big known with revision-based upgrades, although they're much less used. So,
are we? I mean, but if you think about it just from a user perspective, are we ready for 1.9 in like 2 weeks, or is it next week? Sorry, next week, to basically tell the world, stop using in-place upgrades. We recommend using revision-based upgrades.
I think we already have that in our documentation, don't we?
Well, we have recommended, but most of the users are not ready to move, and most of the users probably won't move until they see the revision beta. So if you look at our feature status today, we said control plane upgrade is beta, which is our in-place upgrade that we did long time ago. So I don't see people switch to use revision until it's beta.
But we're recommending people use it already. Is that really true? We're recommending people
in the
use something
doc,
experimental?
Well, doc is very inconsistent, unfortunately.
Most features don't have a label on them, right? Like this whole labeling everything alpha and beta is relatively new.
Yeah.
It's not experimental or alpha or beta. We just shipped it, and then we decided it was good, and we had people start using it. We never went through any process of assigning a label to it.
So I guess okay. So I have a feeling we're going to have a spin-off meeting. I think we could spend the rest of the TOC trying to untangle this, but we have two different upgrade mechanisms right now, and I don't know what the adoption is relative to each other, and they may both have this bug. So we need to understand whether this is a blocker or not. We might have two blockers, we might have one, we might have zero. It's going to be hard to get through that without spending the rest of the TOC on it. What do you guys think?
I personally don't think it's a big deal. I mean, people can I mean, if we document that, hey, you need to have a default revision at all times, I mean, you start installing by default revision, which is also, what you used to have, and then you switch to a revision, and then you can install it backward or upgrade it.
So the thing that worries me, Costin, is that you wrote a lot of this, so you understand exactly what to do. I don't know if somebody who's a user can has that presented in front of them in a doc, like whether that's really clear to the people who are going to be trying to do this.
Yeah, well, I would. I would like to take credit for this. Actually, John said, another people did most of the work. I'm just cheering for them. But my point is, we know for sure that if you do an in-place upgrade, you are at risk of in production. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about demos and regular clusters. We know that revision is a safe path to upgrade. So
have we told our users that? I mean, like, do we have the full documentation?
That's a recommendation
to do it safely.
Yeah, that's the recommendation that Lynn mentioned. I don't know if it's clear enough. I mean, it's.
Yeah, so I think we need a breakout meeting to just untangle. What do you guys think? Other people in the TOC, anyone? What do you think?
I agree. I mean, our doc has been super inconsistent, so we have to sort that out. I'm just looking at it now. We definitely say this is better than in-place upgrade, but it's experimental, which is super concerning.
So what would people like the TOC to do? Obviously we can, or folks can go work on fixing the bug, right? Independent of what we decide feature status to be, right? Do people who have done the work on this feature want to promote revision-based upgrade to beta in 1.9? I think it's fair to say that control plane upgrades being at beta for in place, despite the reservations, is what we've communicated, and so we need to be consistent about it. And if we are going to hold to our recommendation, then we should probably try and bring revision-based upgrades to beta, but that implies work.
Mm-hmm.
So the folks who have been working on this feature are the ones who are going to have to take that on. Do people want to do that for 1.9?
And you don't have a lot of time left.
Right, yeah.
My concern is, regardless of what labels we put and regardless of what we say in the docs, there is a reality that if you do an in-place upgrade, you may have an OMG. If you don't, you may not. I don't know how we communicate it, how we label, how we say that, but even for 1.8 and 1.7, since 1.6, when we actually introduced this release, that was the reality. I'm personally, as long as the production users know what to do, I don't really care what label we have and what it's just want to make sure.
We have to use the labels that we have, Costin, right? So the label is beta, right? If we're saying it's better than the existing mechanism for production users, right, we have to show that somehow, right, in our docs.
Yeah, the problem is that it is better technically because it avoids some problems, but it is more difficult, and I think that's why there is some reluctance, and some people, prefer to keep using in-place upgrade even if there is some risk. I don't know how to express this duality between safety versus usability.
Yeah, that's what users are. They are willing to deal with in place with the understanding there's maybe small downtime, but they think it's simple to understand. It's more intuitive to them.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's fine. Both features can be at beta, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Agreed.
And our docs can say, look, we recommend you use this in production, right? If you decide not to use it, you may see these effects.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to document that, right? Like no matter what.
So maybe to follow up on this, maybe if we are okay to say that hey, there is some extra pain and some additional steps you need to do for revision in exchange for the safety, we can also document this. The worker. I mean, whatever step are needed to keep the version, the validation webhook and the other stuff working. So there are some additional steps, but it's already a bit more complicated. And if you don't want downtime, then you need to, I mean, we should actually fix it. I mean, I'm not saying we should not fix it, but I think we can. Yeah.
We're not going to get through it in the TOC today unless we devote the entire TOC to it. So I'll take an action item to set up a meeting to discuss. I'll pull in the environments and the upgrade working group leads. I will pull in the members of the TOC. You do not all have to attend. Who else should I pull in?
I think that's enough.
Okay. I'll set it up. All right.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks. And I'm going to try to get it in today, by the way, because the release is right around the corner. All right. Review issue health. I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. We still have other release blockers. Anything else we should look at in the release blocker list? One thing that caught my eye was that we have blockers that have multiple assignees. Who's actually fixing it, or do we have a diffusion of responsibility problem where, say, Zongu thinks that Rama is fixing it and vice versa?
Yeah, I added Zongu to that one. So I think Rama is handing that off at this point, but I was going to let him remove himself.
Okay. Oh, okay. Nate, this is the other one where Rama was going to just revert the change. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
This is, all right. I had context on this. Sorry about that.
Yeah. He's getting pushed back to just, sort it out locally.
Okay. So that's that one. The other one that had two owners was this one. The Zan and Yangmin.
I already have a PR, and the test is passing. It'll be updates in the PR to resolve the comments.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Anything else?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Steven. I was looking at the issue, but he already fixed it. I think he fixed it yesterday on the issue I also really appreciate. He finds exactly what's wrong, I think.
Oh, I heard about that one too. So yes. So where is the issue? Is it what I really need to know? Is somebody on it, and is it going to get fixed, or do we need to have a discussion about who owns it?
I think he had a PR. Might already be merged. It's just a space in tabbing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought.
Tests.
Oh, go ahead, Stephen.
Just making sure we actually have tests for it, so it would get caught in the future.
Okay. And we're talking about the one that I'm presenting, or a different?
Yeah, the one you are presenting.
Okay. All right. So then so Steven, you're the owner for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
So I didn't look. Is this one, did the PR actually get merged? I know it had a do not merge earlier.
No, I'm converting the tests back to the way they were so that this will get caught if something like this happened again.
Okay. Because once it's merged, well, I guess we need it into 1.9. I can run the Istio IO test against it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for doing this one, Stephen. Anything else in here? Anything else people want to call out? This one I know. I think this one Yu-Chen is working on, and this one I don't know. This one might be a harder one to fix, but at least we have an owner. Okay. Moving on. Sorry, I realize this is an incomplete scrub. I just don't want to take all of the TOC time to do it. So I think that we discussed this. The both of these are under control. Multi-cluster Stephen's working on it. And then the load balancer ROM is going to revert a PR, and hopefully that's going to take care of it. And I already looked at that. And I'm going to do that. Okay, Mitch, you still with us? Why don't you kick this one off? Is Mitch here?
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Having home internet problems, so I'm on mobile. I can only just see what you're looking at.
It's basically the promotion, the status API promotion. You know, you discuss the split, and then we have to have a little discussion about you know, on or off by default for the thing that we're going to promote to beta, and then for the stuff that is going to be revisited, we need to talk about the working groups that own it.
Yeah, I think the only thing to report out today to TOC is just that we are sort of splitting the decision. We had asked about status overall, and instead the question will now become the analyzer status should go to beta, yes or no, and then the distribution status information should go to beta, yes or no, which just sort of decouples those two features so that one is not held back by the other. I don't think either is ready for evaluation today. We're not talking about 1.9 for either of them, so I know you guys have release information to talk about. I don't feel the need to monopolize time right now on that topic.
Okay.
Are there any questions about splitting those two decisions? Is that controversial to anyone?
I'm good with it. Thoughts?
Yeah, and they're different technical domains, so that seems perfectly reasonable.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. I actually, Louis, note taker, it would be great if we could start checkpointing some of the decisions. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
You know, this is.
So no change for 1.9 for this.
No, there is a change.
For 1.9?
I think so. Yeah.
No.
No, too late for 1.10. Okay, sorry.
No, for 1.9, it's too late to
for
merge in.
API change. Yeah, sorry.
If we had split them like 2 or 3 weeks ago and started testing analysis, we might have been able to get that done, but we didn't. It's water under the bridge. So
yeah. Okay, so the first one is you know, splitting the domains, and the decision is reasonable, but I think we're saying that the validation API goes to beta first off, right?
We're still sort of discussing regarding first off. I don't think we have consensus around there yet. I met with John today to discuss some quality issues in the validation API, and right now I'm working on scoping to understand if those can be resolved in the 1.10 timeframe. There's a substantial amount of tech debt left over from the Istio D refactor that it's looking like will have to be addressed before we can go to beta. So I'll bring it back to the TOC when we have something to talk about. I don't think we have enough information to present yet.
Okay, well, I think we can say that the validation API and not IMPL could be considered beta in 1.10, but we don't do things. We don't have like a beta API with an alpha IMPL. So
exactly.
there would be some changes on the implementation side to bring that up to beta quality.
Yeah.
And then there's a related decision about whether the beta feature would be on or off by default. And if it's on by the default, that quality bar will be higher. And it's, you know, I think the main issue there is I linked this PR about efficiency, and I think it would be like an efficiency thing doesn't mean it's buggy. It just means it's got more overhead. So if it's off by default, it would be okay to have the efficiency issue. If it's on by default, we would have to address the efficiency issue.
On the efficiency front, right, it would be nice to have some kind of, for want of a better term, because we have a monolith, some kind of guide rails for, you know, the cost of a feature. If the feature either didn't want to involve the user interaction, or we didn't require that there was kind of a cross-working group or T escalation to make a kind of value-based judgment about the, you know, the resource cost versus the value to the user, right? Which is often what sometimes what these decisions mean. I don't think we have any guide rails, nor do we have anything in place as part of the build test pipeline that would kind of capture if we went off the rails, which is maybe something we want to consider. It's somewhat orthogonal now. I don't want to derail this meeting on that, but it's worth considering.
Yeah, I mean, for my part, I would love to have objective standards for what acceptable performance is for adding a feature.
Yeah.
Right now, it's something that requires meeting and debating, and there have been a lot of disagreements about it. It also didn't really come up until this feature was like days away from trying to go to beta. So if we had had an objective standard and an automated test all along, that would have been an improvement. That being said, that's, again, water under the bridge. We can't fix it now. We're moving forward.
There's always there's going to be a subjective element in this always, I think, which is, if there is an efficiency regression, we have to say, is the feature that we're introducing worth that efficiency regression? And that's going to be subjective. I don't know how else to handle that.
Yeah, no, I think it's what triggers that discussion, right?
Right.
Like if we had an objective bar and we were just always below it, right? Then it doesn't need to become a debate, right? Yeah. Or it gets easier. But anyway, I don't think we have to quite get into the weeds on that one. Yes,
yeah, this is not a pressing issue right now, and I think I see a couple of other pressing issues down below me, so I don't want to get in their way.
Okay. So then the other aspect, I think we're done with the validation status. Yes. Any other points to raise on validation status?
No.
Okay. No. On the distribution status. That one, sorry, let me back up and say that for validation status, I think it's blindingly obvious the UX working group owns that. For distribution status, I don't know which working group should own that. I'm not sure it's UX or maybe it's some combination of working groups.
Okay, so it certainly has been UX thus far. It's part of the Istio API, which is traditionally under the domain of the UX working group. That being said, I would be happy to take out a joint goal with other interested parties in moving this forward. I'm still working on, Josh, we had some consensus items that you and I were working on offline, and I don't think we've reached consensus there yet. So I didn't feel like I had anything to talk about in terms of distribution status today.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to understand is it would be nice for distribution status to be approved by UX and networking working group before co-leads before it comes back to the TOC. Or at least if you guys can't agree, make an effort and then bring it to the TOC if you can't agree.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that means that we're asking for both UX and networking to be approvers, and if you reach a deadlock, escalate to the TOC. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
I do have a question. Is that regarding implementation, API, or both?
I think that should be API. Implementation should be considered orthogonally.
Okay, so the implementational concerns could be handled through code owners.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Implementation concerns, yes.
Okay.
API is first.
Right. API first, and we need agreement on the API.
And I would say design second. API design and then implementation, we can sort it out.
Okay.
I'm just going to say API and design first. Right. It's obviously a complicated feature. Implementation is clearly second, I suppose, right? And hopefully the design work has been done to validate that the API is feasible. So I'm just going to say that. Right? Is that okay? Okay. So I'm just going to assign this. Well, there's a lock in. Okay.
Mitch, I was trying to keep the second half of the TOC free for this, but we're already done. Should we go back and talk more about the upgrade installer issues? All right, Nate, what's up? Decision requested. Actually, sorry, time to move on. Any other, going once, going twice, any other comments on the distribution status? Okay, Nate.
Yeah, so this kind of came out of discussions regarding assigning stability levels to various APIs like annotations, labels, proto fields, all those things. So in this discussion, we're taking this. We've been taking this kind of pass. Like I did it in the annotations PR. If for those who reviewed that, where I'm just kind of like asking everybody, okay, what should an initial stability level be for all these APIs? For all these annotations. So the thing is that's quickly going to become out of date. So we need a couple things. One is a process for promotion of things, which Brian, I believe, certainly our team, I think Brian's going to take that on specifically. We'll come up with that process. I think it's going to be lighter weight than feature promotion status, obviously. But we still need to kind of like work this into our release process.
Yeah.
So at every release, we're kind of reevaluating both probably at the feature level, as well as, just individual APIs. And, I think basically the release manager or somebody will just be kind of like, nagging the working groups to kind of like, reevaluate their respective annotations or features, whatever. But it still does kind of need to be in the process somewhere that somebody's kind of like nagging.
Yeah, how do we want to do that? I mean, we like my knee jerk was to say let's add that to the standing TOC agenda, but it's not standing. It's only something we want to consider closer to the release. So what do you guys think?
So I guess I have one technical question, which is, I think we talked about this, Nate. Even if we're not progressing a feature, like we want to know, or it would be helpful to release managers if it was documented whether a feature was wanted to be progressed or not by the working group lead, right? So that they knew what to nag about. I don't remember if we had captured that state other than, say, deprecated, which is more for an external-facing thing anyway. And I don't think we necessarily, while some features are alpha or beta, right, or some of these APIs, sorry, are alpha or beta, we didn't necessarily want to progress them, right? Like some of them we wanted to stop. And so recording in these places what that durable decision about progression is would certainly help the person who's going to do the cat herding, because they'd see, oh, this hasn't been progressed, right? So I need to go nag. And the working group leads would felt like their states were being recorded, so they weren't going to be nagged unnecessarily, right, on things that were not considered valuable.
Right. So I think that will have to be an update to the feature promotion process, and that'll have to be a part of the API promotion status as well, or process as well. So yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think Brian is already working on changes to the feature promotion that will kind of enable that ability to kind of tag something as, yeah, I want this to be promoted by 110 or something like that.
Yeah.
I've been working on that. That's okay.
Nate, a quick question. Are these features which you're talking about are the ones which are listed on the features page of Istio?
So there's two levels to all this, right? There's feature status, which is that. And then there's individual API status, which is a new thing that we're determining that also needs kind of like a level. Its level is probably going to be at or less than the feature that it controls. But that's something for us to define still. But yeah, but that those can theoretically have their own kind of like promotion life cycle.
So the features one, I am working with, I just pasted the sheet. I am working with all the working group leads from last 3 weeks. The ones which are not stable, which quarter or release they're planning to move it as a progression path. I just listed there. And on how to make it a promotion, is that what me and Brian are working? But it's definitely makes sense to have you included in those discussions as well. We do not have API stability on those areas, but the ones which we're working on is the features which are listed on the Istio features page.
Right. So one way or another, I think at release time we do need to kind of like nag a bit, right? Because things, we all kind of start out, if they do fill out feature status initially and update it and say, hey, I want to promote for 110. We still need to kind of like follow up at the end and say, hey, did we actually do it? Do we promote? Do we not promote? And the same things. It's going to be, at the API level as well. So yeah, we need a front loading and a, of establishing what we want to do, and then another reevaluation at the end.
Yeah. So this wouldn't be in the purview of the release manager, right? Like this would be a responsibility of the release manager to track progression, right?
Wait, sorry, this would or would not be?
Would.
I'm not, that's the, I'm not sure about that, Lou, because the people that tend to do the release management, they're making sure the branches are created, tests are run against them. They're looking at all the PRs coming, so it is more kind of reactive and mechanical, and I don't know if they're going to have the bandwidth to do this.
Right, but I mean, so I think the goal is to have a tool that the release manager can run to check if the progressions occurred, right? We can do the review here, we can do the review in the working group leads meeting, right? We can put it in the schedule, right? There's a variety of options. Ultimately, there becomes a nag, right? And nags are done in meetings.
I think we need an owner. It is not the sort of work we have historically asked release managers to do. So it'd be harder to implement.
So the owners are either like a person or a forum.
Yeah.
I don't think we have an obvious person. The only one I could think of would be the release manager.
I think, a TPM is another candidate. The TOC is another candidate.
Right, so TOC is a forum, right?
Who owns the release notes? Wouldn't that be the release manager?
Right.
It seems along those lines to me.
Okay, yeah, that's a good argument.
Like I don't know if it's going to be super onerous, as long as the tooling is being done well. And any other TOC members have an opinion on this one?
I feel like it's reasonable to ask the release managers to at least try to track this.
Okay. Is there a dependency on tooling that is yet to be created? And do we have an owner for that?
So Brian is updating the process itself, so the forms that you fill out when you request promotion of a feature.
Okay.
Things of that nature. We're going to have to do something similar for promotion of APIs. Brian may already be working on that. I don't recall. But beyond that, I'm not sure what tooling we would need.
Yeah.
So I think we want a tool that dumps a report, right, of whether things are meeting their promotion goals or not, right? Like if you said that this feature was, or this API was supposed to be at beta for 1.11 and it's not marked as beta yet, then, right, as you get close to the release, that becomes a flag, right?
So yeah, so I mean, certainly we can in GitHub tag promotion requests to a release, right? So the release manager could just sort by that, I guess. I mean, what else would we need?
So how are we planning to track promotion requests inside the feature status artifact or as GitHub issues?
They are GitHub issues today.
Okay.
In the in the enhancement report today. But the process we have is a little bit heavyweight. It's focused on like features.
Yeah, APIs will likely be simpler, but we do have the work that I did in enhancements that I'm working on cleaning out more.
Yeah, I understand for features why it is the way it is. For APIs, right, we're working on having something more inline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we need the process defined for the API. I don't know if it's clear to everybody yet. Then we decide if we need tooling associated with that.
Right. So that's an action for the team working on the API status. But I mean, at this point, I don't see why we would do anything different than feature status as far as the tooling is concerned. I mean, they would effectively be similar, right?
Yeah, hopefully a lot more lightweight.
Yeah, I mean the process itself, but the tooling using GitHub issues. I mean, unless we determine, which is a separate discussion, really, if we determine that tooling is not sufficient for tracking this stuff, then we'll have to do something else. But that would be a lot more work, I imagine.
Yeah, that's the one I'm not sure if people think it's too heavyweight, the existing one. Go through the GitHub and go do the checklist and seek approval. How many levels of approval does it need?
Well, I mean, I guess feature status maybe needs TOC approval. I would see like API status maybe needing workgroup level approval, something of that nature. I don't know. But that's something we can iron out in the process once that's around.
Okay, so I guess the question. Somebody needs to go and write down what the process is. That's the request. I think we're still. Do we expect there to be any change? It doesn't sound like anybody has any expectation that the process would change between API and feature, right? There's still a checklist. It's still to be worked through. If the checklist maybe is a little too heavyweight for an API or a feature, that we could add some variety there. And then we have the ownership question, right, of tracking. I think right now we have some consensus that the release manager should do that because they're responsible for the change, the Delta description in the release notes, which covers the same topic.
I mean, really, we could simplify this entire conversation, get API status out of this entirely, and just focus on feature status. Like, what is the process today with feature status, right?
I mean, the process today is just, a GitHub tracking issue, right? Obviously, Brian is working on the cataloging, right? So then we can have a canonical list of features, right? So then people can review. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head the state of the doc.
So I guess today, does the release manager kind of like do nagging at the back end to say, hey, I saw you had this feature proposal or feature promotion proposal. Did it happen? If that happens today, then I think that's just what we need to do the same. We need to do the same thing for API status once that's there.
So far, I don't think we have any of that. We have an agreement that promotion should be decided on in the roadmap, but nothing beyond that.
Okay. Shweta, could you do an assessment about whether the current feature status tracking stuff is something that could be made trackable in the kind of aggregate sense?
Okay.
Could you maybe spend some time with Brian and Nate looking at that? Because we can't have a process that we don't even know how to track it.
Yeah. And here we are talking about features as well as the API stability, right? Not just the one level.
We can start with features because we have at least, but the kernels of a process there. And just, make it, make an assessment. Is it trackable? What would it take to get it to be trackable? Is it something that you'd want to accommodate in part of the work that you do for release management?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we can check back in and see if we could formalize that and make it part of the responsibility. Well, decide on the responsibilities based on what the assessment is for what it would take to track.
I've done some work in that area, but I haven't presented it yet.
Okay. All right. So then just look at Shweta offline.
Yeah, and it would be great if we can move on to the next one because I'm actually quite worried about it.
Okay.
Jason, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I guess the main question I have about this is, what is the user-facing impact? Like, is this going to be a step that they need to take when they upgrade?
Yes. So I think the upgrade part, they will probably need to take. This is a one-time upgrade.
No, can't do it. Sorry. We need to live in a universe where no manual intervention is required for a user to upgrade. And there can be very, very rare cases where maybe a user must take some sort of special step, but it can't be for a better name.
Well, so I think this is something, different from the gateway upgrade. So revision gateway upgrade, I think we are working on that process, but this is more like a one-time thing that we just kind of want to do the rename, which we decided.
I don't think we can do it. I think that we need to get out of the mode of, so the part of the problem is that a lot of people are building systems on top of Istio where we will automatically upgrade them. And we can't have these small backwards compatibility breaks because it means we can't automatically upgrade people.
Okay, so what do we do with rename that? We need to probably, what we're saying is like we need a better process or automated process for that until we rename to expansion.
If we can rename it in a way that's got, no user impact, the old name keeps working, that sort of thing, we can do it. If there's no way of introducing this without, backwards compatibility breaking, I think we just live with the old name forever.
So won't this work for revision-based upgrade?
I think this is a little bit different because revision-based upgrade is talking about like just revisions tags on the gateways, but this one is more like naming and also the service itself and also the related like gateway Istio configs.
What's the user benefit of that?
Well, functionality-wise, no. It's just a decision that we made, like from user feedback that we want to name it properly.
Yeah, we have plenty of user feedback saying never break us again at an upgrade. So I think that overrides. Yeah.
Yeah, no break upgrades.
Yeah.
Totally +1.
I mean, obviously, there's a distinction between docs and the terminology we use in docs, and the actual physical bits.
Yeah, the physical, the part is east-west, so that's what the part we want to change, actually.
Right, but what do we call this in the docs?
East-west right now. So, yeah.
So you can obviously have a doc which is expansion gateway, and then say the instance of the expansion gateway is called east-west blah, right? And then I think Josh is right? Without fixing, guaranteeing back compat, we can't do anything physical, but we can still make improvements in doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we figure out a way not to have a back compat problem, then we can do.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, right now I think that's the part we're missing. We don't have a way of doing that, like, because the goal we want here is to get rid of the east-west, but we don't have a way of without breaking users.
And I'm curious. So Jason, I'm so happy this was brought to the TOC. Why was it brought to the TOC? What was the order of events that made you raise it here?
Yeah, so we kind of made an internal we had an internal discussion.
Internal. I'm sorry, internal to which group?
With Nate and a few other folks.
Okay.
Yeah. So and just want to kind of this is a very last minute decision because we figure out this is some long buried PR that we wanted to make change in went online, but we didn't take care of it. So that was like decision made yesterday. So yeah, we found.
Okay, and
like,
then you recognize the severity of it, so you wanted to raise it to
yeah,
TOC. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you for doing that.
Okay, so I guess the decision now is still keep it east-west until we have a automated or a better way for.
Well, no, I think the action is go ahead and change the docs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's as far as a user-facing thing that we can actually change. I think that's a change in the right direction. Yeah, the fact that the scripts or whatever are called east-west. We can do anything in that realm that doesn't break upgrade. Like if we want to change the script name, we can probably do that.
Yeah. So basically the physical entity will keep it as east-west. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably even some flexibility on instructions, right? If a script that a user might have used, if you rename the script, not terrible, right? Like that's not really a terrible breaking change. It still has the potential to be breaking. So, but it's not like we haven't made changes to command line arguments or other things of a similar ilk. Right.
Yeah, I think I need to make like more kind of review of the current docs. I don't want it also that make too confusing for the users. Like they're saying, oh, you're making an expansion gateway for me, but you're actually creating east-west. So
yes. So yeah, I would start with thinking about docs and how you want to kind of describe it, and then let that feed down into other non-infrastructural changes.
Okay.
Right. And I think my suggestion was in the realm of things you could do now that might help with an infrastructure change later, but don't really have any effect today. Should we move on?
We're still over, Louis.
Yeah, I mean, is the next one? So this one I think is just start nominating people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just an announcement. Everyone think about this.
Yeah.
And then I guess for the rest, this needs to go next week. Yeah. Any issues with moving the final three? Sorry, guys, the next week.
Yeah, no issue. I mean, if you guys have time, just read it offline. The documentation work group chat, Louis, last week you asked for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
See everyone next week.
Have a good weekend.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
See you all.